Alright, ladies and gentlemen, here we are in game number 1 of our first semifinals match from the Chairs4Gaming Cup number 6. Spawning up here in the top left-hand corner of the map, we have the pink Zerg player from Root Gaming. It's Root Gaming SolO. And his opponent spawned down here in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, a teammate as well. Give it up for the blue Terran player. It's Kelazhur. And Kelazhur is not going to play this game out totally straightforward, straight-laced. He is going to be going for the 3 racks opening, getting heavy aggression. Going to go for 3 racks Reaper play. Frozen Temple, a really nice map for it just because of this cliff. There's so much area that you can jump in. It's hard for a single queen or a handful of Zerglings to just kind of corner in where the Reaper can jump up and cut them off. There's just so many different opportunities for where you can move in. So I'm interested to see how is this going to go for Kelazhur. And when is SolO actually going to notice this? Because look at the Overlord pathing. The Overlords are not going through the center. They're actually gearing up to sit behind the natural. They're gearing up to sit in a position to move into the main base eventually. And I don't think he's going to catch wind of this until the second Reaper arrives. He's going to see the first Reaper. That's all well and good. Okay, yeah, that's 1 Reaper. What's the big deal? I mean, that's pretty standard opening. Even seeing that like a high ground command center isn't the weirdest thing in the world. So seeing that there's no natural command center just yet, that's fine. I can continue droning up, getting up my queens, you know, doing all of my good stuff. This Reaper, by the way, is already getting up a decent number of kills. Killing off Zerglings is actually a really big deal right now because his Reapers are going to start to spiral out of control. Second Reaper comes in, and suddenly I think that there might start to be some alarm bells sounding off relatively shortly. Sporecaller does get canceled, as I think SolO is saying, wait a second, hold on. There are a few too many Reapers around right now. Let's build a Spinecrawler. Let's get some defenses up because there are 3 Reapers over here right now. He knows what's going on, but is it too late? These Reapers have already done so much damage. It's not necessarily about the workers killed, although he is starting to kill a couple. It's just about how many Zerglings and how much damage he's done, I would say, to the queens and everything. Not losing any of these Reapers also is just so important. Comes in with more, and it, again, like this whole style is about spiraling out of control. It's about escalating very quickly with the Reaper count growing, while also continuing to do small little bits of damage wherever you can. Free damage is what this build is about. Looks like he might end up finally starting to lose some of these Reapers, and does end up losing one of them, but still manages to keep a majority of them alive. A lot of Zerglings now out for SolO, so with speed finished up, this does make it a much easier defense, but is it going to be enough? You should be able to chase down some more of these Reapers. I think the Reapers don't exactly have a lot of cliffs that they can jump up. Well, not really feeling too good about it with all those Reaper grenades coming out. Roach Warren is on the way. If that Roach Warren gets out, if the Roaches are able to pop out, this becomes a much harder attack for Kelazhur to make work. Kelazhur is getting up a natural expansion behind this, adding on additional barracks. So he is looking for transitions, and he's already done a good amount of damage, but probably still wants to get a little bit more done. Oh, most of the Zerglings have been cleaned up. The Roach Warren is just completing right now, but I mean, if there's no Zerglings to buy time until the Roaches themselves get out, that's going to be a huge problem. Queens have already died. Now the drone's starting to fall. All of the Zerglings have been cleaned up at this point, and now the drones are pretty much the only things left. 4 Roaches on the way, and Kelazhur still has 8 of these Reapers still alive. He's not actually still making Reapers. He's still making 3 Reapers at a time. He's not giving up on this. And at this point, where you have this many Reapers and 3 more coming out at a time, you can actually start to take on Roaches with the concussive grenades, because you do that splash damage to all of them. You knock them around, you split them up, and these Reapers also, well, it's kind of hard for these Roaches that are fairly immobile units to actually get into a good position consistently versus the Reapers. And you can see these Reapers are kind of just using that grenade as an extra range attack that's just pushing these guys back. One of these Roaches already actually getting pretty low on health. He's getting close to dying even to those grenades. I really like the decision to make it into a Ravager, as he is going to keep it alive for a little bit longer and regenerate all of its health. But behind this, Kelazhur has been able to take that natural expansion. He's sitting up at 35 workers. He's forced out so many units from SolO, and he's still got these Reapers alive. He's going to make his way into the main base as well. The Roaches are out of position, and now suddenly a lot of these Zerglings are going to end up dying. And guess what? When the Zerglings die, SolO's gonna have to remake the Zerglings. So he's not making drones, consistently just not making drones, not making any sort of tech, not making a lair, not making a baneling nest. Not even really making anything besides roaches and ravagers and zerglings. Whereas Kelazhur, I mean, he's got up his tech lab, he's getting up stim, he's getting up 1-1. He's getting up reactors. And just continuing to, I mean, he's just in such firm control of this game by the fact that these Reapers are still alive. And he can buy a lot of time because SolO can't even move across the map and just say, okay, fine, whatever, let's take it into like a base trade. No, he's gonna lose a base trade versus this many Reapers. They're gonna instantly kill all of his drones the moment he leaves his main base. And even then, they're probably gonna be able to retreat back and actually get a decent defense up. Especially with the Marines popping up back at home. Some of these Reapers are starting to fall, but I mean, he's taking Ravagers down with him at the same time. Even gonna be able to take out some of these Roaches, actually. Regenerating more health at the... He's only lost 8 Reapers. He's actually still made more Reapers than he's lost. Like, I don't see how SolO can actually make this work. Maybe if he had... Oh, actually, if he gets a big Zergling run by and the supply depots are lower, that could have been it. But no, does not quite make it in time as he holds back for a little bit longer while dealing with the Reaper harassment. I mean, the Roaches and Ravagers, again, like, the problem is they can't move across the map, because they do move across the map, and look at this! He's gonna lose every single drone that he has in his main base. And I don't even think he's gonna break the front. The repair on the bunker is more than enough. 2 workers go down, and that's gonna be it. GG, Kelazhur walking away with game number 1. Oh, that's the wrong player. Oops. Kelazhur walks away with victory. Man, I am just super on top of production today. Alright, well, SolO has definitely got a big road ahead of him. That, of course, was just game number 1. And that was also a fairly one-off build, especially I think that was a build that was very much dependent on that map. Frozen Temple, you can get away with that stuff. And, I mean, if you talk about another map, like, say, Dust Towers, where you can't dance or easily move into, say, the natural expansion or something, you don't have a lot of area for your Reapers to jump on into the main base. That kind of build order just straight up does not work. So, SolO still has an opportunity to pull this back. Let's see. The second map is going to be King Sejong Station. So we'll go ahead and get that map made. Alright, here we are in game number 2, ladies and gentlemen, for our first semi-finals of the day. We have spawned down here in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, the red Terran player from Root Gaming setting up 1-0 after a very aggressive build. Give it up for Kelazhur. And his opponent, his teammate, spawning up here in the top left-hand corner of the map, the pink Zerg player, struggled to deal with the big one-base Reaper aggression in that last game, but hopefully things will look a little bit differently for him in this game. Give it up for SolO. Well, Kelazhur getting up that first barracks and is going to be going for the command center, most likely on the low ground. No, not going for it just yet. I'm actually not going to count Kelazhur out just yet for maybe going for that 3 racks opening again. Actually, no, I will count him out just because he's already built up more than enough minerals if he was going to throw down those barracks. He is likely just going to be throwing down the command center and getting ready to hop into a bit more of a macro-oriented game. Not give SolO a chance to kind of have a big comeback and respond a little bit differently to the Reaper aggression. This is also, again, another map that's a lot harder to make that kind of work on. You can poke it over at the front at the natural expansion, but there's no easy way to make it up in the main base unless you come in for this backside ledge. And if you're committed to moving over there, it's really hard because I don't actually think there's a lot of area to actually jump up into the natural expansion from this side. You have to walk all the way around to really get a lot of area. So, Reaper opening, not even going to be coming out at all, just going straight up to Marines, and I really do like that decision from Kelazhur. Not only mixing it up a little bit, but just also the map choice is going to make it a lot harder for something like a Reaper opening to work. But SolO going to continue to try and get out, I guess, more of a macro-oriented game. Getting up Zergling speed is going to have to deal... Oh, actually, no, he did go for the Reaper. Has just a 1 Reaper opening, so it's a light bit of aggression. I was going to say, you know, 1 Reaper, it can do a little bit of poking at the front, but really you just want to try and force out Zerglings, make sure that your opponent's not playing too greedy. So despite what I was saying, like, that is really more for the idea of, I'm going to continue with this massive Reaper aggression to the point where I'm building up like, you know, 8-10 Reapers. That's sort of the situation where you really want to make sure you have a lot of opportunities to jump in and out. I think with just one Reaper, you're just looking to get some pickoffs. You can sit in at the front. You don't need a lot of areas to jump into the main base with. Well, fast starport's going to be coming out for Kelazhur this game, though, so a little bit of a difference from the first game. Obviously, not just in the fact that he opened up much more economically, but fast starport does mean that he's going to have much faster drops coming out. So it's going to be a different form of aggression from Kelazhur's. Kelazhur's definitely a player that loves to put on little bits of aggression, throw his opponent off. Well, Reaper is most likely going to eventually be caught, maybe? Well, no, looks like he's going to be able to get away. Gets up to the high ground. And these Zerglings are going to have a hard time actually catching him, especially with his Alnaga watchtowers over there. Give him vision of where those Zerglings are. Maybe SolO can play a little bit of a ring around the rosy with him. Kelazhur's Reaper control is so good. For those who don't know, Kelazhur used to live in Brazil, and he actually used to play on the North American server with like 300 ping, and he would take games off of Polt. He would take games off of really soft players, commit suicide. Doesn't even show up in the unit's loss tab when you actually commit suicide with a unit, by the way. But he basically became a master of controlling Reapers under 300 ping. So it's like, if you can do it under 300 ping, you can do it under, you know, 20 or whatever ping that ridiculously low ping he has at the root house in California. But a big Zergling drop coming in over here for SolO. This could be really effective. There's not a lot of defenses up in the main base. SCV's immediately being pulled off the line and going down very quickly. At the same time, drop comes in on the outside of the map, kills off 4 workers almost immediately with a Widow Mine. And at the same time, the medevac is getting focus fire down. So these queens doing a lot of damage, but the Overlord is not there to spot the high ground. At the same time, it looks like the Zerglings, for the most part, are cleaned up or at least pushed back. So Kelazhur's damage is starting to escalate a little bit further than SolO's gradually, slowly but surely. Hasn't killed as many workers, but starting to kill queens, starting to kill a lot more of the units. Looks like Kelazhur is going to be able to find the 3rd expansion as well, maybe get a little bit more damage done over there. Both of these players taking actually pretty massive losses, as even killing off 1 more worker that was just popping out. Kelazhur going to back up with the medevac, heal up his units maybe on the high ground, and potentially move back in a little bit later on. But again, like, both of these players have taken a lot of economic damage through that harassment. SolO sitting drastically further behind on how many drones he would like to have, especially since he's trying to get up that lair tech. He's going to need to deal with Liberators pretty soon and start to make maybe some more queens, get out some of that advanced tech. But even Kelazhur losing a lot more of those workers is going to try and continue to put on the pressure. Is getting some good damage done. He's going to be able to get the queen before the Zerglings are actually able to react. What is SolO paying attention to that is so much more important than this? I don't know if he was managing his Zerglings over on the other side of the map, getting ready to drop again or what, but he ends up losing 7 workers and a queen. Oh, maybe the Liberator actually came in the main base. Liberator did go down in the main base. That actually must have been what he was focusing on. But that is still a pretty massive loss. Losing the queen and all of those drones and the Marines and the medevac are still very much alive and well. Well, at least for now. I feel like Kelazhur is starting to get control of this game once again. This is sort of the stage where, hey, lair tech is finished up. Spire is going up. Zerg player doesn't want to be making units. They don't want to have to be remaking all these other things. They want to just be focusing on making as many drones as possible. Because they're only sitting on like 42, and you can see he's trying to drone up a little bit, but he's still having to deal with all this Liberator harassment, having to deal with the medevac harassment that keeps coming in and out and dealing more and more damage every single time. But then meanwhile, Kelazhur can kind of focus on economy and also get up all of his production, as he has his 3rd command center finished up, can produce 3 SCVs at a time, and of course has the advantage of all 3 of those mules. As well as having that production finally finished up, he's going to start to get up some of the reactors to really kick it into high gear. But Kelazhur is going to really be gearing up for, I think, a really big push out. Maybe in about a minute or so, where Stim is going to be finished up. He's going to have his +1/+1 finished up. And he's just going to have all of his production ready to, I guess, storm over the Zerg player. SolO doesn't exactly have the greatest creep spread going either. He only really has, I guess, 4 active creep tumors. Actually, that might be 4 active creep tumors out on the map right now. Liberator's still doing little bits and pieces of damage. Up to 8 kills so far. And I guess just reforcing the burrowing and unburrowing of the Spore Caller from different angles as this Liberator says, okay, well, let me try and come in at a different angle. Mutalisks are going to be out though, so Mutalisks should be able to theoretically deal with the Liberator. The problem is now the Marines are over here ready to try and deal with the Mutalisks. +1/+1 is getting very close to finishing up, but Stim is already finished up, killing off a couple of these Overlords. SolO is actually very close to supply block. GG gets called, and Kelazhur just walks in and claims victory. And that's what I was talking about. As Zerg player, they really just want to be focusing in on either producing units or producing drones at that stage. And SolO is saying, well, I need to reproduce the drones that I lost. Like, I have to, or I'm just going to fall way too behind economically. Kelazhur is saying, like, no, I'm not going to let you get away with that. You don't have any banelings. Your Mutalisks are just barely starting to pop out, but you didn't really have, like, a massive number of Zerglings to actually flood in, even to deal with, I guess, like 2 medevacs worth of Marines. So there were a lot of problems over there, and for SolO, just with how much damage he took in the earlier stage, SolO was able to do some nice damage with the Zergling drops, but Kelazhur was just able to do, I think, a little bit more in terms of keeping the units that he was harassing with alive. But of course, Kelazhur advances on and moves on to the grand finals of the Chairs4Gaming Cup. We're going to hop to a short little break as we get ready to hop into potentially the next series, which is going to be Pili Pili versus Game Time. As we'll see you guys there in just a little bit.